some of what's been said here kind of racist.
Your white opinion of racism doesn't
Racism
really.
I'm cool with it. That's a little bit racist. Latest installment of Real Conversations, Change My Mind. The full unedited interview will be coming up soon. I know that's why you tune in. These are our segments where we have full, unedited, uncut interviews, usually involving a topic that's somewhat controversial, just to prove that you can have conversations with people. And sometimes minds can be changed, and sometimes you can part ways. And
sometimes just nothing productive happens.
Sometimes nothing productive happens. And today's a little bit different because this comes from when we were at TCU. We were doing the male privilege is a myth, which turned into a meme, changed my mind. And then I sat down with a couple of people. There were very few people willing to have a conversation that day. It was one of our less productive change my mind days. They wanted to go to the white privilege thing.
Yep.
So we'll show you.
Maybe they interpreted the sign as saying white male privilege.
Yes, white male privilege.
Yeah, that was their thing.
And we'll show you that in a bit. And that's what actually spawned a conversation between a black gentleman and an Asian gentleman. They prefer Orientals. And they did not agree with the previous black girl who was talking about white male privilege and how I was not entitled to an opinion. So we'll get to that in a bit.
Sounds like she was trying to speak on behalf of all black Americans.
Yeah, exactly. And this black guy said, like, I don't agree with that. And so he came up and he spoke and he sat down. They talked about cultural differences with this. You'll see this Asian gentleman there. And it was really fun. This is not really an argument. And actually, I think the black guy was a fan. So full disclosure. So it's not what you're used to. But I just thought it was something really cool. It was an organic conversation that warranted a watch. And I will say this, with the Real Conversations That Changed My Mind segments, we've been very happy overall with, what would you say, 70% positive, maybe?
I'd say probably more than that. It's pretty rare. I mean, I think even if you have to be a pretty hateful little booger to find this to be like an evil.
Well, yeah. I mean, there were a couple of those. Video. There was like the guy, the white male privilege guy.
Frustrated.
SMU, they tried to run us out in a rail, which is why we're going back to perform on March 22nd.
And the feminists said it was male privilege-y.
Yes,
so you do it in the first place.
But at SMU, they got pretty mad. So that was one where there were a few. They were pretty upset, and that's why we're going back in the 22nd. So book now. I would say 70%. I'm trying to be generous. 70% have been positive, and 30% have been somewhat hostile. And I will tell you this, though, any success that we've had with this segment, when we first started doing it, we said, you know what, if there's any success with this at all, if we're able to actually keep it civil and actually have the kind of conversation we want to have with people, the kind of conversation that we've always had off air with new people.
Yep.
Sometimes new hires, or sometimes when people show up to live shows, we'll sit and we'll talk to people for a long time.
Sometimes it's even just in an Uber ride or a taxi ride.
Exactly.
Around.
So if there were any level of success with this series, we would have been happy. Let alone to see how much it's been embraced by people out there, because that doesn't really happen. In the age of the clickbait title and everyone wanting to talk about controversy and Antifa, and obviously that's reality. You have to deal in reality, but you can also have these kinds of conversations that are very productive. There are two sides of that coin, and you don't really hear this other side. So we're pretty happy, I would say, overall. I mean, I would consider it something that we're probably really would consider most proud of here on this.
Most proud of that, and we kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
It really wasn't a planned thing. It was like, let's just try this. And
let's see, and we didn't expect much to come of it.
Yeah.
To the point where we get a lot of requests, probably more for this than anything else.
Yeah, we have entire campus shows and tour shows that people want to have just for Change My Mind coming to their
Just for Change My Mind, right, which is very different from the live show
we're
doing at SMU on the 22nd and then Illinois in March. But we will go to different campuses and do the Change My Mind segments going forward. So first off, let's show you this was supposed to be male privilege is a myth, and this lady decided to take it a different direction.
1, 2, 3. Jump with me, jump us with me, oh, with me, keep such fun. Jump with me.
And what are your names?
I'm Hannah.
Hannah?
Marilyn.
Hannah and Marilyn. Jared, am I good if I? Okay, Hannah and Marilyn. So it's sort of become this neologism, this idea of male privilege, and I know we talk about it a lot on campus, and I've had some conversations with people on campus today. I don't agree with the premise, but I'm open to having my mind changed.
Okay, Marilyn, go first. Well, male privilege is definitely a real thing.
Okay.
Our country country was built by white males and it was built for white males. That's why women and any minority don't have an equal chance of being in politics. That's why most of our politicians are white males instead of representative of the actual population. That's why gerrymandering exists. That's why redlining exists. White privilege and white male privilege and male privilege is a real thing.
Okay, so I want to make sure I have this clear. Do you agree with what?
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Okay, sorry. So I'm trying to try and balance this with the both of you. Hope you forgive me if I'm not perfect. So, you believe that this country was founded by white males exclusively?
I don't believe it was. I know it is.
Okay, you know it. So, what would you use to substantiate that? A lot of white males obviously came here because Western civilization. People came from Europe. A lot of white males, but that it was founded exclusively for white males. That's what you said. Yeah. How do you?
Male-dominated society.
But that doesn't imply that doesn't necessarily equate to design.
The Constitution originally didn't mention women or black people or anything or minorities or anything. It only mentioned white men. It didn't specifically say white, but it said men. They didn't give any minorities the right to anything. We had to fight for that right.
Who's we?
The minorities, women had to, people of color had to, everyone had to, except for white males.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. So you're saying that the Constitution, first off, mentioned only white men? I would say
It didn't say white men. It said men.
Mankind, men. Yeah, this was
yes.
a term. Again, this is just sort of a colloquialism. Men. The rights were extended to women. You're aware, right?
They weren't extended to women. Women had to fight for their rights.
No, women never had to fight for the freedom of speech or Second Amendment.
Well, what do you mean women didn't have to fight for these rights? They literally had marching. Women were hurt for this,
For the First Amendment and Second Amendment, women didn't have
for
the
the
right
right
to
to vote, for the right to not be treated as property.
Okay, so that's interesting that you bring up the right to vote. So you say we fought for it, everyone except for white men.
No, some white men did, but
Some
it
white
was
men.
mostly women.
So it was
and
mostly
honestly,
women and minorities.
It was mostly white women at first who didn't include black women.
Okay, so who do you